Good day, I'm Leoneline Dalmasio from 4NUO3 presenting our thesis entitled The Effects of Seated Toe and Heel Taps Exercise on the Incidence and Risk of Falls and Berg's Balance Score among Elderly. To start off, the group utilized the theory of the Rtea Orem self-care deficit. As you can see, the elderly has a need for self-care. If the elderly wasn't able to meet this, deficit occurs, making them prone to falls. Thus, we introduced an intervention, the seated toe and heel taps exercise, which can improve self-care and reduce the incidence and risk for falls. Our input are the persons at risk, which are the elderly. The process being the intervention and the output was to decrease the incidence and risk for fall. Our objectives are as follows. First is to identify the different ADLs or activities of daily living of our elderly. Second is to determine and compare the incidence and risk for falls before and after utilization of our intervention. Third is to explore factors affecting the utilization. There is a significant decrease on the incidence of falls based on the Berg's Balance Score among elderly patients 60 years old and above after the utilization of seated toe and heel taps exercise. There is a significant decrease on the risk of falls based on the Berg's Balance Score among elderly patients 60 years old and above after the utilization of seated toe and heel taps exercise. We had our brainstorming. Then after which, we have submitted our letters to the institution. After then, we selected our respondents, and the criteria are as follows. We then select 40 respondents ages 60 years old and above who experienced falls in the past 6 months from October 2009 to March 2010. We also include in our criteria those patients who are ambulatory and able to read and write. We then let the respondents sign the consent forms. Incidence pretest was used by the respondents to identify the risk of falls, and the Berg's pretest was used by the researchers to evaluate the study. Seated toe and heel taps exercise was introduced as our intervention to our selected respondents. After 2 weeks of intervention, we had gathered the incidence post-test from our respondents to identify which of them improved, and we used the Berg's post-test to evaluate this study furthermore, after which evaluation and analysis was done. Comparing the pre- and post-test of the Berg's evaluation, 3 activities showed significant result. First, seating with back unsupported from 30.4% to 84.6%. Second, turning to look behind from 46.2% to 84.52%. The third is standing with 1 foot in front from 7.1% to 61.5%. As you can see, there are 9 activities that the elderly can execute. Based on our pretest, out of 14 respondents, there are 5 who answered that they can dress up alone. The next significant activity, 11 out of 14 answered that they can stand up without assistance. According to our post-test, those who can dress up independently from 5 increased to 8. Standing without assistance, however, scored 12 out of 14. For our conclusions, Berg's pre- and post comparison, though that they are still classified on the moderate risk for fall, there's still a significant change in the result. Standing with 1 foot in front in the pretest was not executed by the respondents. However, the post-test showed they were able to do the procedure independently. They were also able to stand, change clothes, and eat independently. The incidence of falls decreased from 14 to 0 based on the incidence pre- and post-test. For our recommendations, first, we recommend to our elderly is for them to be able to refrain from falls. And for our future nurses, for them to give quality care to their patients. For stroke patients, as a part of their rehabilitation and therapy. Athletes, to retain their gait and balance. Those who are prone to falls, we recommend to improve their balance and refrain from falls in the future. Well, that's about our thesis. Thank you very much. Bye-bye!